It is the Truist Championship. Doesn't mean that there's a bunch of lies going on, because it's the truest of the championships. And we're gearing up for the major next week. Welcome everyone to Tea Time. I'm Andy from wagertalk.com, being joined as always by my fellow golf betting expert, Nick Borman from wagertalk.com. We're going to start off the show with our one and done picks. But after that, we've got a long shot for you. We've got an outright winner. We've got some players that can trip you up. We got DraftKings Darlings. We're going to break down the course for you. Nick, you and I are just really struggling with this one and done. It's really bad. You have 1.8 million. I have 1.2 million. And we've each picked Scotty Scheffler. There's Ludwig Aber, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Russell Henley. The struggle is real, man, for this one. All right, let's both have some big cashes. Who are you using for your one and done this week?
Well, I gotta say, I was my immediate reaction was like, I'm going Russell Henley, and then I was like, wait, I already used him, and then I saw you use him. I'm like, that's literally the perfect play for this week is Henley, because I think this is going to be a plotter type of event, which we'll obviously get to as we get going through the show. So I'm going to go with Daniel Berger, and honestly, I just had no idea he was playing as well as he is. I'm looking through the results. He all of a sudden he's popping in the strokes gained in like the last 3 months and the most recent starts, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's Daniel Berger doing? I don't know how he's been so quiet, but he's been playing very, very well. His results, gosh, over the last, really just this season, sneaky, quiet. Somehow, have you even noticed him? Has anybody? I don't remember that we've really talked about him, have we? But somehow he's playing very, very well, and he's a guy that. He's not a long hitter, right? And I don't think you need to be this week, but he's very accurate. And I like that type of a player this week. I'll get into that a little bit more. But you go back to, really the whole season. But if we just go from the Waste Management Phoenix Open, he's played 8 events. 7 of them were top 25s. His worst finish was a tie for 30th. And he's coming off a tie for 3rd in his last start at the RBC Heritage, another signature event. So it's not like he's playing weak events. He finished tie for 20th at the Players, tied for 21 at the Masters, 12th at the Genesis. Like, these are big fields, tied for 15th at the Arnold Palmer. So he's playing well. Will he win? It's going to ask a lot, of course, but will he be up in the mix because he's proven like he has been? Yeah, I think so. So hopefully he does a little bit better and gets that top 5 splash and we cash a nice big one and basically double what the first 10 weeks have done for us. But I think Daniel Berger should have a good week this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have noticed Daniel Berger. We do the segment DraftKings Darlings, and they're really lower price guy. He's the perfect mid-tier price guy, and he is in my DraftKings lineup this week. Just because he's not priced as high as the quote big name guys, but he's playing just as good as some of those guys. He's been very consistent, so I agree with that. And yes, I am using Russell Henley. It just feels perfect for Russell Henley. It's not that long. Just hit it in the fairway, hit it on the green, and make your putts. That's a Russell Henley type course. There's a few guys like that. You've got Brian Harmon. You've got Jason Post. You've got some of these guys where they're not long off the tee, and you don't need to be long off the tee here. This is all about the second shot and just putting it near the hole. So, Russell Henley is going to be my one and done. So let's talk about this course. Normally I go first, but Nick, I'm going to you. This course is in your backyard. You've been there. You've seen it. You've played it. So what's your take on it's called Wissahickon, and did you say what they call it? The Philly Cricket Club?
All anybody refers to around here is Philly Cricket. What's going on with Philly Cricket? You going over to cricket? Was cricket? Whatever the shortest way you could say any place, it's always going with that way.
What's your take on the course?
It's an awesome golf course, first of all. For golf enthusiasts and just guys that like to play a true classic golf course, this is a must. I would put it up there with Marion as far as, you're not going to see it in the top 10 rankings, but it is a top 100 course, and it should be. It's very classically designed. One of the things that I wanted to kind of, because you're trying to find, this is a one-stop, one-year situation because the Wells Fargo, normally a Quail Hollow, that's the PGA next week. So we're only going to see this for this year. The Wissahickon course has never held a PGA Tour event, so we're a little unsure, like kind of scoring-wise, how it's going to be, but it did hold a event here. The PGA Tour Champions played here in 2016. The winning score was +1. Granted, those guys don't hit quite as far, not quite as good, obviously all around, but still proves that a course does not have to be long to be tough. And I go back to the Marion mention because I think it's a very comparable course. Now, the last time anybody played at Marion was 2013. They had the U.S. Open there. Justin Rose won, same score, +1. Both of those courses are designed very similarly. They're not long. They somehow managed to stretch this place to 7,100 yards, which is hard to do because, again, there's no room. It's in suburban Philadelphia. There's nowhere room to expand anywhere. But these courses, they're very, very tight with the fairways. It's all about the green complexes, Andy. They are very, very difficult. Not only are the greens, they're not like necessarily ridiculously small. They're a little bit smaller than average, but the places you can land the ball are very, very small. Everything runs off from pretty much every direction. There's 118 bunkers all around these greens, and everything kind of funnels to them. And then even when you're on the greens, you have to be on the right tier. There's a lot of tiers. There's a lot of undulations. So it's small targets within the greens to actually have realistic birdie chances, or otherwise you're trying to negotiate, the tiers and the undulations just to be able to two putt. So I don't see this course playing easy, despite the fact that the yardage, they can play 7,500 yards and shoot 2,500 par, but this is going to play 7,100 yards. I don't see this getting much lower than 13, 14, maybe 15 under. And again, I'm just guessing. I mean, again, we go back to some of the old results on similar courses or the Champions Tour. They didn't even break par, and maybe it plays that way, but I do think these guys will figure it out. The weather looks pretty solid. In fact, it's supposed to rain a little bit today, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to the tournament, even maybe a little bit as the tournament goes on Friday, like it looks like it. So softer conditions, we know what these guys can do. That alone might make the scoring a little bit more favorable, but if it wasn't, the place can get very tough. The greens are going to stem close to 13, and with these runoffs everywhere and these false fronts or edges, it's just going to be very, very difficult. So to me, when you're looking at the skill set this week, Andy, it's approach and around the green, because when you miss, it's very tricky. You got to get, just like your approach, you got to land on the right spot when you're chipping it 20 yards back onto the green. I don't think drivers matters this week. And honestly, I think we see guys dial it back because, placement in the fairway is paramount to get these appropriate spots on the green. So I'm not too concerned with driving. You go to Augusta, we were talking all about distance and all about driving. I don't think it's a factor at all here. That's why we talked about the plotters. So it doesn't matter to me on the driver, but I do love guys that can flush their iron. So that's my bucket this week, and guys that can get around the green. Putting, when you get to a new course, I always look at putting like it's kind of a level playing field. Sure, you got good putters and bad putters, but when nobody knows exactly all the nuances of these greens and the breaks, I think it kind of levels that field. It even helps a guy like Scotty. He doesn't start off, let's say, as far behind as the average, because I don't think it matters as much when you don't know the layout or the undulations. So anyway, I think the Wissahickon's going to play pretty tough, actually, despite the yardage, and really it's going to be all around the greens.
Well, I think they're going to torch this course.
I don't see it. I played there. I don't see it.
I think they get to 20 under. I think someone gets to 20. It's great. Last week we talked about, it's like, yeah, I think someone's going to go really low. And then Scheffler just.
Well, that was stupid. Luckily, he's on the field this week, which is one.
Yeah, soft greens. What's the quote from Justin Thomas that we always go back to? You give us soft greens, we're going to tear the place apart. So
you're right. That's the worry with the green.
Yeah. And because it's short, the approaches are going to be pretty short. You're just going to have a lot of wedges and 9 irons coming into the greens. I think this is set up for a really, really low score. It's so short, and it's the best players. There's no cut this week. So I normally do my favorite hole and the 18th hole rating. When you're looking at this course, you have to be careful because they're not starting on the first hole. They've changed up the way that they do the different holes. So the 18th hole for what they're playing this week is not the 18th hole of the actual course. So, but I like that they moved this to the 18th hole. It's a par 4, 517 yards. I think this is going to be the hardest hole that they play. It's weird. They have these huge bunkers and mounds right in the middle of the fairway, but it's about 335 yards out. So you would have to pound it. You'd have to have the wind at your back to bring those into play. There's bunkers on the left and the right before that. So you do have to be very accurate. If you put it in the bunkers, now you got a really, really tough second shot because it's going to be a long, long second shot coming out of the bunkers. If you put it in the fairway, okay, I think par is going to be fine. Birdies are going to be a little bit tough to come by. I do think this is the one hole that I would say, yeah, I think this is going to be the most bogeys, because an inaccurate tee shot is going to set you up for a pretty tough second shot. So I actually think this is a pretty decent 18th hole. I think they did a good job with lining this up to be the final hole. I give it a 5.8. It's kind of one of the few holes that really looks like it's got some personality to it. So, Nick, you mentioned the greens, and yeah, that's kind of the big note that I have here. Like, it's you missed the wrong tier. Now a 2-putt is good, but you hit it on the right tier, it's just a birdie fest. So I think that's how it sets up. So 18th hole, and my favorite hole are going to be the same hole today. And if you go to PGAtour.com, they do a really good job. They have a chart that shows you which holes on the public course are the ones for this course, that it's got a little drone fly over. So PGAtour.com did a good job breaking down this course as well. So, all right, let us get into total strokes gained. We mentioned this is a no-cut tournament. Nick, let's take a look at the total strokes gained for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Scheffler is going to be probably the only name that's the big name that's left off here. What are our big takeaways here from this chart this week?
Yeah, obviously that is the big takeaway. No Scheffler in the field, just trying to figure out his schedule, so he's fresh for the PGA next week. But no real surprises here, I think, on this list. I have to start off by saying the signatures and the majors. So we've had 7 of them this year. Perfect 7-0, Andy, that the winner has been in this top 10. So these bigger events, these deeper fields, the cream of the crop tends to rise. So if the trend continues, your winner will be one of these first 10 guys on this graphic. And I don't think either one of us would be surprised by that. These are obviously the best players in the world. JT is a notable one for me, with that finally got that monkey off his back with the win at Heritage a few weeks back. So we'll see how he plays. This is Rory's first tournament, individual play, forget the Zurich, since he won the Grand Slam. And, people are always are questioning it here all the time. Like, man, this might free Rory up. Who knows how he's going to play the rest of the year? Yeah, we don't know. There's a part of me too that Rory's maybe focus kind of wanes, if that's the right word, for a little bit, as he's maybe doing that. I kind of look at it as the Shane Lowry victory lap after he won the Open. He was drunk for, I think, months on it. I don't think Rory's doing that, but you get my point. Maybe there's a little hangover effect. So I'm not going to be betting Rory at 450 personally, but clearly he is the favorite here. Xander, we've talked about. I want to note him because the graphic will show him as like, what the heck is going on? But we've talked about it before. He had the injury. He's just worked his way back. And really, he's starting to show, Andy, we talked about this in the last show, you did specifically, that he's rounding back into form. And it's probably starting to get to the point of, all right, you could probably get some money behind Xander. He's starting to look like the player we saw last year. And again, JT was my other guy. The only other person I really liked on here, Cantley, I think we both hate for various reasons. We just can't get him right when we're trying to bet him. But Corey Connors, I think he fits the profile of the plotter, the guy that doesn't get into a lot of trouble, that will find the tee or fairways in the greens and probably find the right spots in the greens, because he's very, very good with his iron. So I think he'll quietly have a good week this week. And then the few in the bottom are notables that, Ludwig Aubert, top 10 player in the world. He's just not on this graphic. He's not in the top 10 in the last 12 months. Hovland really struggled, snuck back with that win a few tournaments ago. And then Jordan Spieth, who might be, all the talk going into the PGA now is going to be him in the Grand Slam, and as he rounds into form as well. But he's playing very well. Shot 62 on Sunday this past weekend. So momentum going in the right direction. But for me on this graphic, I think Rory's guy that this is not the week personally to bet him. I think he's really going to be focused on next week at the PGA Championship and trying to win again at Quail Hollow versus this week. I think this is just getting them prepped and getting them ready. So that's my take on the top 10, but it'd be very surprising once again to not see the winner come from this graphic.
Yeah, I like Schauffele. I wanted to do something with him. I'll wait and see what the props are. But yeah, I think this, of all the main guys who, they're practicing for next week and they're getting ready, I think Schauffele might be the one where it's like, I really want to have a great week.
True.
Kind of one of the guys. So let's move into players that can trip you up. We'll talk about some of these big name guys that I think are not going to be that focused. And yeah, you mentioned him. Rory McIlroy is number 1 on my list. I don't buy that he's that focused on winning this tournament, or, he's going to play well. It's a fairly easy course for his standards, but his sights are set on next week, PGA Championship. I know everyone else is in the exact same mindset, but Rory just won the Masters. Like, it's all about the majors for this guy now. He and Lowry were 12th at the Zurich, and it just doesn't feel like a Rory type of course with it being so short. Listen, he's been fantastic this year, but he didn't play the week before the Masters, so bit curious that he's playing this week. Either way, I'm just not going to be betting on him. So Rory McIlroy is the first player that I have that can trip you up. And we mentioned him, Ludwig Aubert, only one top 10 in his last 5 tournaments, and he has 2 missed cuts in those tournaments. There's no way I can bet on this guy this week. Plus 0.16 approach this season, which is really bad. And add that he's basically break even around the green and putting. Nick broke down that there's just a lot of runoffs around here. And if you don't get the ball in the right tier on your approach, you're going to have kind of a weird long putt with, lots of undulations. So I don't think this is a Ludwig Aubert type course. So I just think when your short game is not on point, everyone's going to go past you on the leaderboard while you're just stuck there on a treadmill. So Ludwig Aubert, I'm avoiding. And then Patrick Cantlay, he just cannot put it together. 5 straight tournaments outside the top 10. Is just not the same elite guy that he was a few years ago. And what's crazy is his numbers are good around the green, not great, but he just can't put it all together. Like if he's driving the ball great, his approaches are a little bit off. There's just something about him. His price is a top 5 guy, and there's just no way I can invest in that. So he's not going to be in DFS. He's not going to be in any head-to-heads or top 10s or anything. I think the pricing is based off of what he's done in the past as opposed to how he's playing now. I just don't have him as a top 5 guy, so I won't be betting on him this week. Rory McIlroy, Ludwig Aubert, and Patrick Cantlay, 3 players that I think can trip you up. All right, Nick, let's go to your favorite. Before we do that, tell everyone what you have up at Wager Talk. I know MLS is in full effect, big chunk of the season all the way through. So what do you have for clients up at Wager Talk?
Yeah, this week in particular is the semifinals, leg 2, Champions League, Europa League. So we got good, big soccer matches this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So those are available at my page right now. And if you're seeing this on Tuesday, it's $5 Tuesday. So great time to grab a couple of those plays. Also MLS, yes, in full swing. We're about 10 weeks into the season, 11 weeks into the season, and off to a profitable start, going for 7 in a row. Season goes until the end of December. I'm going to have there's summer tournaments this year, Andy, that include Leagues Cup, includes FIFA Club World Cup. So there's a couple big events going on this summer. So we'll have a package up probably by next week's show for that soccer. So I'll mention that there. And also we'll have a package next week as well for the PGA Championship, next major. So Andy and I always do a good promo for that. But this week's pack for the Truist is available on my page at wagertalk.com right now as well. Andy, my favorite, it's no surprise because you already talked about him, is Russell Henley, and he would have been my one and done.
Yes.
He would have been my one and done
is Nick's favorite. Let's go.
It's just perfect. It's a perfect week for him. When I saw this event, I saw the course, I'm like, oh, it's Russell. And then I saw you use it for the one and done. I'm like, I'm going to do the same. Oh, no, I already used him. Listen, Henley, if he isn't the first person that comes to mind when you think of Plotter right now for the way he's playing, I think you're a little crazy. He's just one of the most boring golfers on the PGA Tour, but he cashes checks. He makes cuts. He quietly finishes top 10 or 20. I want to say quietly, but maybe it's not so quiet anymore considering he just won the Arnold Palmer Invitational, so that tends to bring your name to the forefront because golf is very recency biased. But aside from the win, Henley's missed the cut, Andy, twice in his last 34 events. And while this week has no cut, it just proves his consistency. One of the cuts was just 2 starts ago at the lengthy Augusta National, but that's not the tournament he can play well at, so I don't even care. Aside from that, this course is going to play nothing like that. He ranks 108th, Andy, right, in strokes gained off the tee because he doesn't hit it far. So despite that ranking, he ranks 5th in total strokes gained. Without even telling you what the other numbers are, that just proves how good he's been everywhere else with the game. So 15th strokes gained approach, 17th strokes gained around the green, and 14th strokes gained putting. Those 3 areas of your golf game are on point at this club. He's going to play well. I don't care at all about the distance. So great form, great skill set, I think, for this track. And I believe Russell Henley, I love your one and done on him. I think he's got full confidence coming into this week. I think he plays very, very well. And again, I love the bounce back that he had after Augusta. He missed the cut. but then came right back, finished top 10 at the RBC Heritage in his next start. So it ain't holding him back. I think he plays very, very well this week. He's 35-1 at FanDuel. I see him dropping down to 30 or even lower at others. So I'm gonna guess this number is gonna drop sooner rather than later. If you have a chance to get that, go ahead and do it. But plus 280 for a top 10 or plus 110 for a top 20. And we always remind everybody the odds are lower this week. 72 players in the field, no cut. There's a lot better of a chance people get those top 10 and top 20. So you're not going to see the plus 500, plus 600 odds sometimes we like to choose. But still value, I think, on Henley this week.
Love it. Yep, I'm a big fan of Henley this week. Let's take a look at our DraftKings Darlings. Before that, I've got a 30-day special that is up at Wager Talk. We're knocking $100 off of 30 days. We say this all the time with our plays for clients. You give me one night of plays, I can't guarantee we're going to win. You give us a week, I think we're going to be okay, but I can't guarantee it. You give me 30 days, I feel pretty good about our chances that we're going to be up. We've turned a profit in 15 out of the last 18 months after turning a profit again in April. So clients are really, really happy. We're up 20 units in April. And the reason why we talk about 30 days is we had 2 amazing weeks to start April. And then we had 2 bad weeks to finish April. But at the end, we're up 20 units because we got out to such a huge, huge lead in those first 2 weeks. So this includes all sports. And this is what we really, really focus on for clients. We have 12 sports that we have plays in April. So we're very, very diverse. Number one in cricket. Yeah, number one in cricket. And we're on a 10-2 golf run. Really happy that golf is coming around. So WT.buzz/AL, use the promo code Andy30 and it gets 30 days of all plays for only $199. It's $100 off, instant discount when you use that code. And we preach long-term. We live it. These are all plays that we bet with our own money. Me and my team have been working very, very hard, and we're off to a great start to 2025, creeping in on that plus 80 unit mark for all access clients. So promo code Andy30, WT.buzz/AL. Again, these are plays that we bet with our own money. Lock that in. 15 out of the last 18 months, we have turned a profit. Let's take a look at our DraftKings Darlings, and I've mentioned a couple of them. So we placed 14th out of a tournament where 100 people were in, so we're back to our winning ways in DFS. That feels good. Dang it. Sam Ryder missed his first cut. Nick, that's all right. What a hell of a run for Sam Ryder. First missed cut of the year for Sam Ryder. Love that guy. But we had Scheffler in our lineup, so that'll be all right. That'll make you cash in just about every tournament when you have the guy that goes 31 under. All right, I'm going back to Steven Jaeger. So we had a bet on Steven Jaeger to be top German, and Nick, I thought this was easy peasy. And then he goes into Saturday playing great, and he bogeys the last 2 holes, and he throws a fit. Now he was on the featured group on ESPN Plus on Sunday, so I'm tuning in to watch. This was the most disinterested round of golf you have ever seen on the PGA Tour. Like, he just would grab a club, hit it, not talk to his caddy, just walk up to the ball, no practice, just hit it. Nick, there was one hole where he hit it out of bounds off the tee. His second shot, he hit that one out of bounds, and then he chips in for par. I mean, it was embarrassing. And he was throwing a fit the entire time. He ends up finishing 63rd and loses the top German bet. And guess what? I'm going right back to him. This guy has serious upside. Before he threw his temper tantrum, he was inside the top 10. His numbers are really, really good. Plus 0.33 putting, plus 0.46 approach, plus 0.28 around the green. I'm just going to forget about last week and take the 6,800 and put him in my lineup. This is by far the highest upside of the guy that you're going to see at 6,800. So Steven Jaeger is going to make the lineup. We mentioned Poston and Harmon. These guys kind of have the same kind of pedigree where they're not long off the tee, but they're solid on approach, solid around the green, solid putting. Poston's made 10 cuts in a row. His putting has fallen off this year. It's not that great, but he just thrives on courses like this. I wouldn't be surprised to see Poston and Harmon in the top 20. And Harmon, he's catching his stride, Nick. First 36 and third of the last 3 tournaments. Momentum is on his side. Did not get off to a good start this year, but I think the books have not really caught up to that. Harmon is, I don't want to say back to his, championship, major championship winning ways, but I think you're going to see Harmon pop up on leaderboards for the rest of the season. So Steven Yeager, JT Poston, and Brian Harmon, those are DraftKings darlings. And as always, free digital download is up on my page, wt.buzz/AL. It's the same page where you can go get that 30-day pass, free golf article. It's got all the write-ups for the DraftKings darlings, players that can trip you up, in the course preview. That will be up when you're watching this. And we mentioned it is $5 Tuesday. If you are watching this on Tuesday, all plays at Wager Talk are going to be $5. Each handicapper can put up a play that is $5. Ours is in the NBA, and we cashed our NBA play last night, which was a great sign because round one was pretty rough for us and clients. So we stopped putting in place for round one, saved it for round two, cashed last night. We got a $5 play that is up in the NBA. Nick, do you have a play up for $5 Tuesday?
I have a Champions League play up for
nice.
Tuesday, which it goes early. It goes at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So then there's another one that'll load for Wednesday, which you'll be able to grab until midnight. I want to interject on what you said about Steven Yeager, because this isn't particular to this guy or this event, but I want to back you up and just kind of give a quick little general betting advice for golf. I think it's safe to say most golf bettors are probably golfers. I feel like it's one sport you're not betting on if you don't play golf.
Yes.
But there is no truer statement than golf is a very, like, you can put something behind you and forget about it and be disinterested and then move on. I mean, even in a round of golf, how many times have myself, Andy, probably yourself, anybody listening, you have you have a bad front nine. You go to the turn, you grab a hot dog, you grab a drink, whatever. You're instantly like, you can go into reset mode. And these PGA Tour players, you mentioned Steven Yeager being completely disinterested and not caring at all last week. That's a great time to bet Steven Yeager. His price drops, right? He looks like, why would you want to bet on this guy? But these guys can come back. I mean, these are the best players in the world. When they miss a cut, that's the bet on time. Right. So I just wanted to back you up. I just wanted to support that play on Steven Yeager and the fact that if anybody was like, why would you bet a guy that seems so interested and wasn't playing well? It's not that at all. That is the time to get on these guys. That's done. That week's over. He didn't care. He was disinterested in that week, but he is going to be ready at least on Thursday. He might lose it, midday Friday if he's still playing terrible after, 27 holes. But I think he comes out strong. And I just wanted to back up in general. Golf is very, up and down like that, and the best time to go is right after a bad or disinterested week. So just backing you up, Andy. That's all.
It was so.
I didn't see it, so now I kind of want to go find it.
I couldn't take my eyes off it. I wanted to watch something else, and I couldn't. I was like, I'm watching professional.
He really doesn't care.
Throw a fit on the golf course. All right, let's get to a little bit of a long shot here, Nick. Who do you like at juicier odds here this week?
All right, I have talked about Sepp Straka probably 5 times this year. I feel like half the time he's been the favorite, half the time he's been the long shot. In this field, he's considered the long shot at 45-1. But another plotter is Straka. He just, again, top 10, top 20 just seems to be the standard for him. He too, I mentioned Henley missing the cut at Augusta. Yeah, he too missed the cut at Augusta, but I don't care. Length was certainly the issue there. He also missed the cut at the Genesis Invitational, but if you're paying attention at all, this year that course was played at Torrey Pines, and Torrey Pines not the longest, course these guys play on tour. So the 2 missed cuts he had are the 2 longest golf courses these guys have played so far all year. I don't care. Aside from those 2 starts, he's finished inside the top 30 in all 11 of his other starts, including 9 top 15 finishes. And of course, he had that win at the American Express as one of those. He's got an even stronger iron game than Henley. He ranks 2nd on tour in strokes gained approach. And that's not just an anomaly this year. You go back the last couple of years, he's up in that top 10. He's hitting over 72% of greens in regulation, also 2nd. His short game and putting aren't quite as strong as Henley, but his driver is just a little bit longer than Henley, so perhaps that little offset there. But if he's hitting just enough greens here, getting the right spots of those greens, I'm hoping he doesn't have to rely too much on that around the green game. But where he's very, very deadly, Andy, if you look up his stats, from 50 to 100 yards. So it's like that 3/4 wedge, half wedge, not chip shots, but not full swings either. He's in the top 10 in every bucket, whether it's you look from 50 to 75, 75 to 100, or 100 to 125. He's in the top 10. So you get that club in his hand, this guy can throw darts, and I do love him as a guy that's probably just not going to get into a lot of trouble this week. So Sepp Straka, 45-1, top 10's plus 360 or plus 140 for a top 20. Any combination of those I love for Straka.
He's just always undervalued
Yeah, he is.
Just always we talk about players that can trip you up. Like it's like, why is Patrick Cantlay ranked as Price as a top 5 guy? Like, why is Straka plus money up to be top 20? He's one of the 20 best players in the world.
Aside from those 2 long ass golf courses, 9 out of 11 top 15 finishes this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'll take it all day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, please hit the like button. Comment section is rocking like always. Thank you guys so much. The views have been fantastic. Likes have been fantastic. Subscriptions have been fantastic. So if you guys could just take a second out of your day and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. You get notified whenever we have any of our preview shows. And next week, buckle up. We got a major, so it's going to be a big, big week for golf here on Tee Time. But first, let's turn some profits in this week's tournament. All plays can be found at Nick's page or my page at wagertalk.com. Good luck on your plays this week, and we will see everyone next week for the PGA Championship.